Welcome to the Legal Tech Mastery Show.
Hi there. Just a quick heads up before we begin. This podcast contains content generated or significantly edited using artificial intelligence tools. All information is provided for general informational purposes only and reflects knowledge available at the time of publication. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. We recommend that listeners verify the information independently and consult with qualified professionals for personalized advice.
Okay, thanks for that. Let's dive right in. Today, we're really talking directly to you, the entrepreneurial lawyer. Maybe you're based in Luxembourg, maybe thinking about a significant tech shift.
Yeah, a pretty big one potentially, like moving from the Mac and iOS world over to Windows 11.
Exactly. And perhaps on one of these brand new Surface Pro 11 devices.
Yeah.
Powered by that Snapdragon X Elite chip.
That's quite a leap. And our goal today, this whole deep dive, is really to help you navigate that transition successfully.
Helping you get the absolute most out of this new setup, right? For efficiency, accuracy.
And ultimately, boosting your practice's profitability, we want to empower you to leverage this tech effectively.
Right. So we'll cover getting the hardware and Windows 11 foundation solid for legal work.
Mm-hmm. And strategies for making that jump from Apple smoother.
We'll look at mastering those core Microsoft 365 tools, becoming a real power user.
And then we'll really get into integrating advanced AI with a special focus today on Google's NotebookLM.
Yeah, we're going deep on NotebookLM. Its capabilities, the tech, the cost, and crucially for lawyers, the data handling side.
How it applies specifically to legal practice, plus staying updated on tech developments. Okay, let's lay that foundation.
So getting started with the Surface Pro 11 and Windows 11, where do you begin to tune it for legal workflows?
Well, think about day one impact. Customizing the start menu, for instance. Sounds basic, right?
But it adds up.
Totally. Pinning your go-to legal apps, Word, OneNote, Clio, whatever your document management system is, maybe group them into folders like case files.
Reduces clicks, less mental friction.
Exactly. Saves those little moments throughout the day.
And what about managing multiple windows? Lawyers are always juggling documents.
Oh, snap layouts are absolutely critical here. Game changer, really.
How do they work?
You just hover your mouse over the maximize button on any window. It pops up different layouts side by side, 3 windows, whatever. Click one and boom.
Nice.
And Windows remembers snap groups. So if you often have, say, a contract, your notes, and a statute open together, you can recall that exact layout instantly.
Yeah.
Big impact on drafting speed, research efficiency.
Okay. And for those times, you need 0 distractions. Drafting a complex argument, maybe?
That's where Focus Assist, or Do Not Disturb, as it's sometimes called, comes in. You go into Focus settings, configure it to silence notifications.
Can you set rules?
Yeah.
Like specific times or apps?
Yeah, absolutely. Set it for specific hours, or maybe automatically when you're using Word full screen. Helps maintain that concentration, which is vital for accuracy.
Makes sense. What about shortcuts, beyond the usual copy-paste stuff?
Keyboard shortcuts are huge for speed. Win plus E for File Explorer, Win plus I for settings, Alt plus Tab to switch apps. Those are good basics.
Anything particularly crucial for lawyers?
Win plus L locks your PC instantly. Non-negotiable for client confidentiality when you step away from your desk, even for a second.
Good one. Make a cheat sheet, maybe.
Definitely. Or the digital note. Get that muscle memory going. It's speed and security.
Okay, the Surface Pro isn't just a laptop. It has touch and pen input. How do lawyers best use that?
Right, that's where it shines for certain tasks. Think annotating documents digitally.
Like marking up PDFs.
Exactly. Use the Surface Pen with Microsoft Edge's built-in PDF reader, or ideally, get a native ARM version of Adobe Acrobat for more advanced features. Highlighting discovery, commenting on drafts. It feels quite natural.
What about taking notes? Meetings? Court?
Microsoft OneNote is fantastic with the pen. Your handwritten notes actually become searchable later thanks to OCR.
Seriously. Searchable handwriting.
Yep. And you can convert it to text, too. Plus, in OneNote, you can embed related documents, images, even audio recordings alongside your notes. It becomes a really powerful digital case file.
Does it feel okay to write on?
Yeah, the palm rejection is pretty good now, so you can rest your hand on the screen like you would on paper.
Okay, let's shift gears to the chip inside this Snapdragon X Elite. What's the story there? Why is it different?
The big difference is the architecture. It's ARM-based, like the chips in your iPhone or modern Macs, not the traditional x86 architecture you find in most Windows PCs.
And the benefit is?
The promise is twofold. Really strong performance, competitive with other high-end chips, combined with significantly better battery life.
Ah, the battery life, that's always the dream.
Exactly. Qualcomm and Microsoft are claiming substantial gains. Real-world tests are showing things like over 12 hours on the Surface Pro 11. That's huge for lawyers on the move.
Less scrambling for outlets in court or at client offices.
Precisely. It's down to the efficiency of the ARM design and the advanced chip manufacturing. Plus, it packs a powerful NPU, a neural processing unit.
NPU, that's for the AI stuff, right? The Copilot Plus features.
You got it. This chip has a 40-plus TOPS NPU, which means it can handle complex AI tasks right there on the device, locally.
Faster and more private, then.
That's the idea. Take the recall feature, for example.
Explain recall. Sounds intriguing.
So Recall is currently in preview. It basically takes periodic snapshots of your screen activity. Then you can search through your past activity using natural language.
How would a lawyer use that?
Imagine trying to find that specific clause you remember reading in a contract draft weeks ago, or an email thread about a negotiation point. Instead of digging through folders, you could potentially just describe what you recall seeing or doing. And Recall, using that local NPU, helps you find it right there in your own activity history.
Wow, okay. That could be a massive time saver for research or remembering details.
Revolutionary potential, I think. Finding things in your own past work instantly.
Are there other Copilot Plus features using this on-device AI?
Yeah, there's Windows Studio effects, things like better lighting, background blur, even simulated eye contact for video calls. Makes you look more professional in virtual meetings or depositions.
Useful. Okay.
Co-creator in Paint, maybe less directly legal, but could sketch simple diagrams. And really importantly for Luxembourg, live captions.
What do they do?
Real-time translation and captioning. It can take spoken audio from 44 languages and provide English subtitles live during calls or videos.
Okay, that's incredibly useful in a multilingual environment. International client calls, reviewing foreign language evidence.
Exactly. Huge potential there for comprehension and accessibility.
These features sound great, but you mentioned ARM is different. The big question, what about software compatibility?
Right.
Especially my specific legal tech tools.
Right. This is the crucial part, the main nuance you need to understand. Software on this machine runs in one of two ways. Either it's a native ARM64 app designed specifically for this chip architecture that gives you the best performance and efficiency, or it's an older by86 or by64 app running through an emulator called Prism.
And emulation. Is it any good? Does it slow things down?
It's designed to be pretty seamless for many common applications. And the good news is, lots of mainstream stuff is native ARM64, now the Microsoft 365 suite. Browsers like Edge, Chrome, Firefox, tools like Slack, Zoom, they run great. But emulation can have a performance overhead, and more critically, some types of software just won't work well, or at all, via emulation. Things like hardware drivers, printers, scanners must be native ARM64. Also, some system utilities, virtualization software, or complex app add-ins might struggle.
So my practice management software, document assembly, e-discovery tools, they might have issues.
That's the potential stumbling block, especially for niche or older legal tech. You're an early investor on this platform. The legal software market adapts, but often more slowly.
Any specifics?
Yeah, the source material pointed this out clearly. iManage, for example, explicitly says their work desktop client is not currently supported on ARM, though they're looking at it. That's a major factor if you rely on iManage.
Okay, that's a big one for some firms. What about others?
NetDocuments and Office requirements don't specifically mention ARM. However, there was recent news about Uniflow integration for printing to NetDocuments getting ARM support. So there's movement, but Office itself needs careful testing. Same goes for Clio's desktop app components.
So how do I check if my essential software will work properly?
First, check the vendor's website. Look for Windows 11 ARM64 in the system requirements. Second, there's a community site, worksonwogo.com, that stands for Works on Windows on ARM. Users report their experiences with different apps there. It's invaluable.
So definitely do my homework on my critical tools before fully committing.
Absolutely essential. Test them thoroughly. See how well they run under emulation, not just if they run. Is there lag? Are features missing? Contact vendor support too.
Okay, so it's a balance. Potentially amazing battery life and performance for native apps, but requires due diligence on specialized software compatibility.
Precisely. It's an exciting platform with huge potential, especially for mobile professionals, but you need to go in with your eyes open regarding the software side, particularly niche legal tools. The ecosystem is growing fast, though.
Got it. So Assuming I've navigated the hardware, the OS setup, the ARM checks, now I need to actually move my digital life from my Mac and iPhone.
Right, the transition itself. We want to make this as smooth as possible, get your data across, find Windows equivalents for your apps, and figure out how your iPhone plays with your new Windows PC.
Starting with files, what's the best way? External hard drive.
That works for a big one-time transfer. Just make sure the drive is formatted as X8. Both Mac and Windows can read and write to that. But honestly, for ongoing access and syncing, cloud storage is the way to go.
Like OneDrive at Cloud.
Exactly. Install the cloud service apps on both machines. Let everything sync up on the Mac first, then install on the Surface Pro and let it download.
Which service is best?
For your main work documents, OneDrive makes a lot of sense. Its integration with Windows File Explorer and Microsoft 365 is really deep features like files on demand, save local disk space, and co-authoring in Word is seamless.
But I have tons of stuff in iCloud from my Mac and iPhone photos, contacts, calendars.
No problem. Get the iCloud for Windows app from the Microsoft Store. Sign in with your Apple ID. Choose what you want to sync. It brings your photos, mail, contacts, calendars, even iCloud Drive files over. The Windows 11 Photos app even plugs right into your iCloud photo library now.
Okay, that sounds manageable for data. What about using my iPhone with the Windows PC? On Mac, everything just worked together.
Yeah, it's not quite the same level of integration as the Apple ecosystem, but Microsoft Phone Link gets you surprisingly close now.
What does Phone Link do for iPhone users?
You can make and receive calls from your PC, send and receive text messages, including iMessages, though group iMessage support was a bit limited initially. It's improving, and really usefully, you can see and manage your iPhone notifications right on your Windows desktop.
So fewer interruptions picking up the phone while I'm trying to work.
That's the goal. It bridges a lot of that gap. You set it up via Bluetooth, install a companion app on your iPhone. Microsoft is actively enhancing the iPhone support too. Recent updates even put phone link notifications into the Start menu. It's about using the tools available to streamline your workflow across devices.
Okay, hardware setup, ARM awareness, data migration, iPhone integration, check. Now let's talk about actually using the core tools day to day. Microsoft 365. How do you go beyond just typing in Word or making lists in OneNote?
Right, becoming a power user. In Word, for legal drafting, it's all about structure and consistency. Mastering styles is fundamental.
Styles, like fonts and sizes.
Yes, but much more. Defining styles for headings, body text, block quotes, citations. It ensures your documents look professional, meet court rules, and it unlocks powerful features.
Such as?
Automatic table of contents generation, and crucially for many legal documents, an automated table of authorities, TOA.
Ah, the TOA. That can be painful manually.
Extremely. Word's built-in TOA feature requires you to properly mark your citations as you go, but once set up, it compiles and updates the table for you.
Yes.
Huge time saver, reduces errors. Also, use templates. Create .x files for standard letters, motions, NDAs. Massive efficiency boost.
Okay, styles and templates in Word. What about managing all the information for a case? Notes, research, evidence.
That's where OneNote really shines. Think of it as your digital binder, but way more powerful.
How so?
It's structure notebooks per client, sections for things like pleadings, research, notes, then pages within sections, lets you organize intuitively. But the magic is how you can put anything on a page. Type anywhere, handwrite notes with the pen.
And the searchable handwriting you mentioned.
Exactly. Plus, you can embed PDFs, Word docs, add screenshots, web links, even record audio directly into your notes with consent, of course. Then use tags built-in ones like to-do or custom ones like Exhibit A, client instruction, follow-up.
So the tags make things easy to find later.
Combined with the search, yes. OneNote searches everything, type text, handwritten text, using OCR, even text inside images you've pasted. It becomes this incredibly rich, searchable repository for everything related to a case. Deposition prep, trial outlines, client meeting notes. It's incredibly versatile.
What about the business side? Many listeners run their own firms. Can Excel help beyond basic sums?
Definitely. While proper practice management software is better for detailed billing and time tracking, Excel is great for getting a handle on business metrics.
Like what?
Simple things first. Use basic formulas, SUM, average to track monthly expenses, maybe log billable hours per client or day to see patterns. You could track income and basic cash flow, or even do simple profitability analysis per case, track revenue, track costs, calculate the margin.
So getting visibility into the firm's financial health.
Exactly. Even tracking client acquisition, where did they come from, what did marketing cost, what revenue did they bring? Start simple, build up. It supplements your accounting software by providing quick analysis.
And for collaboration. Brainstorming, case strategy, maybe?
Microsoft Whiteboard is excellent for that. It's a free-form digital canvas. Use the pen, type, add sticky notes, images. It's fantastic for mind mapping complex issues, visualizing transaction structures, or explaining concepts visually during a Teams meeting.
Speaking of Teams and Outlook, how do they tie everything together?
They're the communication hub. Outlook for email and calendar, of course. You can send emails or meeting details straight to your OneNote notebook. Teams is for internal chat, secure video calls with clients, screen sharing, recording meetings. You can create dedicated Teams channels for specific cases to keep discussions and files organized.
And now there's Copilot in these apps, too, the AI assistant.
Yes, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Think of it as an AI layer integrated across Word, Outlook, Teams, Excel, etc. It uses advanced AI, but importantly, it's grounded in your firm's data within your Microsoft 365 environment.
And it's secure. My data isn't used to train models for others.
That's the enterprise promise. Microsoft states your business data remains yours, isn't used to train the public foundational models, and is protected by the same security and compliance boundaries as your other M365 data. You retain control.
Okay, so how does it actually help a lawyer in, say, Word?
It can help draft initial text, maybe a standard clause, a client letter, a memo outline, potentially referencing documents you point it to. It can summarize long, dense legal documents quickly. It can compare two versions of a document and list the key differences. Recent updates even add features like citation suggestions, voice interaction for drafting, and writing coaching.
And in Outlook or Teams?
In Outlook, it can summarize lengthy email threads so you can catch up fast, or draft professional replies. In Teams, after a meeting, it can generate summaries, list key decisions made, and identify action items. Hugely valuable after client consultations or internal strategy sessions.
So to handle some of the heavy lifting, the routine stuff.
Exactly. It acts like a smart assistant, augmenting your abilities. It's not replacing legal judgment or strategic thinking, but it can free up your time by tackling first drafts, summaries, and information retrieval. You still need to review, refine, and apply your expertise.
Sounds powerful, but probably takes some getting used to.
It does. Like any advanced toolset, becoming a power user of M365 and Copilot requires a learning curve. You need to invest time to understand the features like word styles, OneNote tagging, Copilot prompting, and integrate them into your workflow. But the payoff in efficiency and accuracy can be substantial. And keep watching the updates, it's evolving very quickly.
Okay, M365 power usage covered. Now all this data we're creating, documents, emails, OneNote notebooks, needs secure storage and management. Let's talk cloud strategy, especially data residency for lawyers in the EU.
That's absolutely critical. Your strategy needs to be built around security, compliance, like GDPR, and easy accessibility for you. For most users in this Windows M365 setup, OneDrive for Business is the logical core.
Why OneDrive for Business specifically, not just the free OneDrive?
It's the enterprise version, built on Azure, with much stronger security and compliance features. Things like robust encryption in transit and at rest, ransomware detection and recovery, granular sharing controls.
Sharing controls, like password protecting a link.
Yes, and setting expiration dates, blocking download, restricting access to specific people. Crucial when sharing sensitive documents with clients or opposing counsel. Plus, features like Files on Demand save huge amounts of space on your Surface Pro's drive, while Version History lets you roll back documents to previous states. And multi-factor authentication, MFA, is a must-enable security layer.
Okay, but the big one, data residency. Where's my client data actually stored if I use OneDrive M365?
This is paramount, especially under GDPR. Microsoft provides an EU data boundary for its core cloud services. For customers in the UEFTA, this means your core M365 data, including OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange Online, is stored and processed within data centers located physically inside the EU or EFTA region.
So ticking the GDPR box for data location.
It's a major part of it, yes. You need to ensure this is configured correctly in your M365 admin settings, selecting the EU as your data residency location.
Is there still any catch? I hear about data sovereignty versus data residency and things like the U.S. Cloud Act.
That's the important nuance. While the data resides physically in the EU, the provider, Microsoft, is U.S. headquartered. There are theoretical scenarios under U.S. law, like the Cloud Act, where U.S. authorities might seek access even to data stored abroad.
So it's not perfectly isolated.
Microsoft has very strong commitments to challenge such requests legally, require valid legal process, and notify customers where possible. They state they don't provide encryption keys, but the potential for conflict exists. For most data, the EU data boundary provides strong protection. For extremely sensitive matters, you need to understand this context, communicate transparently with clients, and perhaps consider extra layers like client-side encryption, depending on the risk profile.
So the takeaway is, use OneDrive for business, ensure EU data residency is configured, enable MFA, use secure sharing practices, and understand the sovereignty nuances for highly sensitive data.
Precisely. It's about using the robust tools available while maintaining professional diligence regarding data protection.
Briefly on browsers moving from Mac, likely use Safari or Chrome. What's the recommendation on Windows ARM?
Performance and battery life are key here, so go with an ARM native browser. Microsoft Edge is the obvious first choice. It's built on the same engine as Chrome, Chromium, so compatibility is great, but it's highly optimized for Windows and ARM. It performs really well and integrates tightly with Windows features like Copilot.
What about Chrome or Firefox?
They also offer native ARM64 versions now, and they perform well too, so you have choices. But Edge probably offers the smoothest overall experience on a Surface Pro 11 due to the deep OS integration. Just ensure whichever you pick, you're running the ARM native version.
Okay, core productivity, cloud strategy sorted. What other Windows apps are essential for a lawyer, keeping that ARM compatibility in mind?
Well, you absolutely need good PDF tools. Dealing with PDFs is a daily reality.
Adobe Acrobat.
It's the industry standard. Historically, it ran okay-ish under emulation on ARM, but sometimes with glitches, especially with things like Outlook integration. The really good news is Adobe is actively releasing native ARM64 versions of Acrobat Pro DC.
Yeah.
So your action step is find and install that native ARM version. It'll perform much better.
What if I just need basic PDF viewing and commenting?
Microsoft Edge's built-in PDF reader is actually quite capable for that, and it's already ARM native, so for simple tasks, it might be all you need.
And then the really critical stuff, my practice management software, document management.
Right, back to that compatibility testing. As we discussed, you must verify how your specific tools run.
Just to recap the status on those key ones.
I manage Work Desktop. Currently, no ARM support stated, still being evaluated. NetDocuments and Office. No explicit ARM support and requirements, but related ecosystem tools are getting ARM support, so test Anonis thoroughly. Clio Desktop app, Drive Launcher, needs thorough performance testing on ARM. Contact vendors directly for their official stance and roadmap.
So for some of these, I might have to rely more on the web browser interface if the desktop app performance isn't great under emulation.
That's often the best workaround if a native app isn't available or emulation is laggy. Check worksinwoe.com for community reports on your specific software, too. The legal tech world is adapting to ARM, but it takes time.
It definitely sounds like being an early adopter requires some extra diligence here.
It does. The benefits are potentially huge: battery, instant-on, AI features, but you need to ensure your essential workflow tools are compatible and perform adequately.
Okay, let's pivot to the main event. AI in legal practice, and specifically our deep dive on Google's NotebookLM. What is NotebookLM in a nutshell?
Think of NotebookLM as your personal AI research assistant. Its superpowers being source-grounded. Unlike general AI like ChatGPT that pulls from the whole internet, NotebookLM focuses only on the documents you upload to it.
So I feed it my own case materials. Contracts, research notes, statutes, deposition transcripts.
Exactly. You upload your sources, PDFs, Google Docs, text files, web links, even audio transcripts. The enterprise version adds support for Microsoft Office files, too. It takes these sources and builds an AI model based just on that information within a specific notebook.
And then I talk my documents.
Pretty much. You can ask it questions about those specific uploaded sources. Summarize the key obligations of Party B in this contract. What are the arguments against admissibility mentioned in these two motions? Explain the concept of force majeure based only on this uploaded statute and commentary.
And it answers based only on what I gave it.
Correct. That's the key differentiator. And crucially for legal work, it provides citations. Clicking on a part of the AI's answer takes you directly to the relevant passage in your original source document so you can verify it instantly.
Verification is huge. What else can it do? You mentioned audio earlier.
Yeah, the audio overviews feature is really interesting. It can generate a short podcast-style audio summary or discussion about your uploaded sources, featuring 2 AI voices. It's a quick way to get the gist of complex materials. It can also generate summaries, timelines, FAQs, or briefing notes based on your sources, and it helps you organize with note-taking features.
What's the technology behind it? Can it handle long legal documents?
It's powered by Google's Gemini AI models, specifically Gemini 2.5 Flash. These are advanced models with large context windows, meaning they can effectively process and understand very long documents, think hundreds of pages, quite well.
Okay, the features sound potentially very useful, especially being source-grounded with citations. But the elephant in the room for lawyers, data privacy and confidentiality. Where does my data go? Who sees it?
This is the most critical question, and the answer depends entirely on which version of NotebookLM you use.
There are different versions.
Yes. If you use it with a standard, free, personal Google account, or even the paid Google One AI Premium tier, your usage is governed by standard Google terms of service and privacy policy. And the really important point here, Google states that if you provide feedback on the AI's responses using a personal account, human reviewers might look at your queries, the source documents involved in that query, and the AI's response.
Whoa! Human reviewers seeing potentially confidential client documents. That's a non-starter.
Absolutely. For sensitive legal work involving client confidentiality, using NotebookLM with a personal account carries significant risk if you ever use the feedback mechanism. The advice is clear. Don't submit confidential client data via personal account if you might provide feedback.
So is there a way for law firms to use it securely?
Yes. That's where NotebookLM Enterprise comes in, which is accessed via Google Cloud. This is the version designed for business use.
How is it different?
With Enterprise, all your data, the documents you upload, your queries, the AI responses resides within your firm's own dedicated Google Cloud project. It's subject to Google Cloud's stricter enterprise terms, not consumer terms. Sharing is restricted to other users within that same project. And critically, for you in Luxembourg, Google Cloud offers data residency controls. You must configure your project to use an EU multi-region location. This keeps the data physically within the EU, helping meet GDPR requirements. Google explicitly states that data in NotebookLM Enterprise is not used to train their general AI models for other customers. It's isolated to your project.
Okay, so the enterprise tier linked to a Google Cloud project configured for EU data residency sounds like the necessary setup for handling client data.
That's the key takeaway. It provides the security, isolation, and data residency controls that are essential for legal confidentiality. The access tier makes all the difference.
Assuming we use the enterprise version correctly, how would a lawyer practically use NotebookLM day-to-day? Give me some specific examples.
Document review is prime territory. Upload a batch of contracts, ask it to identify all clauses related to termination for convenience, or summarize the indemnification obligations of the licensor across these agreements. Upload discovery documents, ask, find all mentions of Project X between these dates.
Legal research assistance.
Yep. Upload relevant statutes, regulations, case law you've downloaded, check usage rights first. Scholarly articles, ask it to explain the elements of breach of duty based only on these uploaded Luxembourgish tort law sources, or generate an outline for a memo explaining the key compliance requirements of the EU AI Act for financial institutions based on these official texts and circulars.
Drafting aid, with the usual caveats.
Always with caveats and lawyer oversight. But yes, upload your firm's templates, notes from a client meeting, maybe a similar past agreement. Ask it to draft an initial confidentiality clause incorporating the points from my meeting notes based on our standard template, or create a client-friendly FAQ summarizing the key changes in this new regulation I uploaded. It gives you a starting point to refine.
What else? Case management. Negotiation.
For case management, upload key pleadings, correspondence, witness statements. Ask it to create a chronological timeline of events based on these emails and statements, or summarize the main points of disagreement based on the plaintiff's and defendant's filings. For negotiation prep, upload position papers, draft settlement agreements. Ask it to summarize the opposing counsel's main arguments from their expert report, or identify potential areas of compromise by comparing these two draft versions.
It sounds like it could really accelerate understanding and analysis of large volumes of text.
That's the core value proposition. It doesn't replace your legal thinking, but it can dramatically speed up the process of extracting key information, identifying patterns, and synthesizing complex material from your specific sources.
But getting the best results probably depends on how you ask the questions.
Absolutely. Learning to write effective prompts, clear, specific instructions for the AI is key. It's a skill in itself, often called prompt engineering. Being specific about what you want, what format, and referencing the sources is crucial.
NotebookLM is one tool. How does it fit into the broader landscape with things like ChatGPT, Claude, or Microsoft's Copilot?
They all have different strengths. NotebookLM's unique angle is that deep grounding in your uploaded sources with verifiable citations. General LLMs like ChatGPT are better for brainstorming, general knowledge queries, or creative writing. Microsoft Copilot is integrated within your M365 apps, working directly on the document or email you have open. They're different tools for potentially different tasks. Understanding those differences is key to using them effectively and appropriately.
And wrapping this AI discussion up, how does using these tools intersect with regulations like the EU AI Act?
The regulatory landscape is evolving fast. The EU AI Act imposes obligations based on the risk level of AI systems. While tools like NotebookLM, especially enterprise, are designed with security and privacy in mind, you as the lawyer using the tool remain responsible. You need to ensure the accuracy of outputs, maintain client confidentiality and privilege, understand potential biases, and comply with all applicable professional ethics rules and regulations when incorporating AI into your practice. It requires ongoing awareness and diligence.
Okay, what a journey. We've gone from setting up the Surface Pro 11 and Windows 11 foundation, navigating that sometimes tricky Mac to Windows transition, unlocking power user status in Microsoft 365 with tools like OneNote and Copilot,
to formulating a secure cloud strategy focusing on critical data residency in OneDrive Azure, identifying essential ARM-compatible apps, and then really diving deep into Google's NotebookLM.
Yeah, covering its features, the underlying tech, the all-important data handling distinctions between personal and enterprise use, and concrete examples of how lawyers can leverage it for document analysis, research, and drafting support.
Our aim was really to equip you with the insights and practical steps needed to harness this technology, effectively boosting efficiency, maintaining that crucial accuracy, and ultimately helping your practice thrive.
And as a final thought to ponder, as these AI tools become ever more capable, offering seductive gains in speed and efficiency, how do we, as legal professionals, ensure we constantly uphold that vital balance? The balance between leveraging powerful technology like NotebookLM and safeguarding the absolute bedrock of our profession: client confidentiality, legal privilege, rigorous accuracy, and our unwavering ethical duties. It's a question that demands continuous reflection in this rapidly digitizing legal world.
This podcast contains content generated or significantly edited using artificial intelligence tools. All information is provided for general informational purposes only and reflects knowledge available at the time of publication. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. We recommend that listeners verify the information independently and consult with qualified professionals for personalized advice.
Hit that like and subscribe button. It was the Legal Tech Mastery podcast for you this week.